If you're looking to solo flawless the brand new Vesper's Host dungeon with easy to acquire weapons that everyone has and easy to execute strategies that everyone can do, then you came to the right place. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do this on Warlock, which in my opinion is the easiest of the three classes to do it on, even if you don't have a lot of Warlock experience. For example, I am a Hunter main. I probably have 10x the amount of time played on my Hunter compared to my Warlock, yet I still found this significantly easier on Warlock. So even if you typically main another class, I highly recommend giving this a go on Warlock, as it feels the easiest of the three. As far as the guide goes, I've already arrived at the first encounter. I don't feel it's really necessary for me to give direction for the intro section, since there's not really a lot of strategy. It's just kind of use whatever you want, kill stuff, and make your way to here. It takes about 2 or 3 minutes. So I'm going to save you guys the time. I don't want to waste any of your time. So we're just going to start at the first encounter. The way that this guide is going to go is I'm going to go through the specifics of my loadouts for each encounter in particular, talk you through the subclass, the armor, the mods, the weapons, and then I'm going to do a couple example phases of each encounter, showing you all of the information that you need to know, safest way to do it, best way to do DPS, and things of that nature. For the first encounter, your loadout is kind of dealer's choice when it comes to exotic armor piece selections. I'm just using an exotic class item with Spirit of Inmost Light and Spirit of the Star Eater, but you can really go with absolutely whatever you want. You can go with any exotic class item combo that you like. You can go with a specific exotic armor piece that you like. It's totally up to you. It's really not a big deal. What matters significantly more is our weapon selections, where I urge you towards Wither Horde in the top slot above all else. You'll see why once we get into it. I also love having a heavy grenade launcher down here in the bottom slot. Even better if you have one with Envious Assassin, so you can stockpile a ton of GL shots. You'll see why once we get into it. And then primary ammo weapon of your choice. I highly recommend a solar one, as you'll see later once we get into the dungeon. You can go with something like Zali's Bane, like I have right here. You can go with Epochal Integration. You can go with Callus's Mini Tool if you like the SMG route. Completely up to you. As far as subclass goes, going with Prismatic Warlock, I'm liking the Song of Flame. I know ignitions are currently bugged, but the survivability of this just makes it a really nice panic pop to guarantee that you don't die. Going with Phoenix Dive for the healing, going with Arcane Needle for the triple melee, going with Healing Grenade for the safety, Feed the Void for our Devourer, Halion so that we get our little solar buddy whenever we pop our Phoenix Dive, and then I'm rocking with Purpose, Protection, Hope, Dawn, and Courage. As far as mods go, I'm set up with an Arc Resistance and a Harmonic Resistance, so I get the solar properties. Got some Harmonic Siphons and Harmonic Loader for my solar hand cannon. I've got double solar weapon surge for my hand cannon as well, just to make general ad clear a little bit easier. Reaper and time dilation, heavy ammo finder, and then I've got an impact induction and a focusing strike. Again, though, and then here's my artifact setup. Again, kind of dealer's choice. Only really important artifact mod I would consider here is Concussive Reload in conjunction with Rapid Impacts. Other than that, it's kind of up to you what you want to go. You can run whatever you're comfortable with. But let's talk strategy, because there are a lot of tips with this particular encounter that I think are going to make your life a lot easier. So we're going to start things off. Reboot the system, jump over here. Wither Horde's going to be the name of the game for us. Just going to be sticking this guy right here. Can throw a little needle to get Devour proc, since that is an ability kill. So every time we kill an enemy, full HP regen, get some grenade energy back. Of course, we have our healing grenade as well that we can throw if we ever get in trouble. And we're just continuously sticking this guy with the Wither Horde. Can slide in a GL shot as well, as long as there's no enemies in your proximity. You know, last thing you want to do is an enemy walks in front of you when you fire off a GL shot, and then your run's automatically over. Gonna keep killing these drags. We got the scanner, Resilient Vandal that's gonna spawn in for us. So we're just gonna go ahead and take him out. And then we're gonna pick up his scanner. Make our way over here to the first hallway. This is where I really like the Wither Horde. First place I like it. I like to lob one right up there, because all those dregs are gonna be jumping down and coming in from that angle. So they all run right through it. Weakens a lot of them up, kills some of them. Chuck another Wither Horde. We don't have to be super fast with this section, but we do have to be a little bit conscious of time because of our viral scanner buff up top there. Kill that final drag. We've got our 2 friends right here. Wither Horde plus a couple GL shots. We'll put them to bed. Nice and easy. Can also pop your Prismatic there if you'd like. At this stage, if you're running a little bit low on your viral scanner time, you can come over here to the right and rebank it and instantly pull it back out just to refresh it. If you're really good on time, though, you don't necessarily have to do that if you don't want to. I'm going to get one more ability kill, just get our Devour refresh, so we're getting a full HP heal on every single kill. And then we've got these two fellas to deal with. Just going to use the Wither Horde. Devour gives full HP heal every time we kill him. Wither Horde really is the name of the game here. Again, still taking a look at that viral scanner. And then we're going to figure out which ones we need to do. I find it easier personally to keep track of the ones that are bad as opposed to the ones that are good, because there's 4 that are good and 2 that are bad. Since we've already found the 4 that are good, we automatically know that these 2 are the bad ones. So 5 and 6 are our bad ones. So all I'm saying in my head, I like to say it out loud verbally too, honestly, even if it makes me feel a little crazy. So I'm just kind of saying in my head, 5 and 6, 5 and 6, 5 and 6, 5 and 6. Need to figure out where our operator fella is. We probably accidentally killed him, and then the buff despawned. So we got that, and again, like I said, in my head, 5 and 6, 5 and 6. Boom. And then we'll go ahead and get the core. Now, this core right here, you'll notice the timer on it only goes down when it's sitting on the ground, and the radiation stacks that you accrue while holding it stack up very, very slowly. So what I really love to do when I'm running this core, this is why I love running Wither Horde for this. I can do something as simple as for all the tanky enemies, I can drop the core real quick, shoot a Wither Horde, and then pick the core back up. And then I'm making sure that the time doesn't drop at all. And then, of course, Wither Horde is an auto-loading weapon if you have the Catalyst. So you can just kind of hide out right here, and for any tanky enemy, sling a Wither Horde at them, it'll tick, let it do its thing, and you can hold the core, and that core timer does not go down at all. I've only lost 10 total seconds on the timer. For the Shanks, much better to just kill them with your primary ammo weapon. No need to Wither Horde them just because they have so little HP. But then once again, we'll Wither Horde that guy, kill the Shank, and then once the Shank's dead, we'll just pick up the core, and we'll let the Wither Horde do its thing. We don't even really need to shoot him at all. And the same goes for the Brig. Now, if you're in a situation where you have a lot of time left on the core, like I got 30 seconds right now, I don't really need to play it super safe and super slow and, you know, preserve a ton of time. I can just kind of pop my prismatic, sling Wither Horde, and go crazy on the Brig, because I have all the time in the world on this thing. But the strategy with, you know, using Wither Horde to kind of do a lot of the work while you hang out and be safe, that's going to come in big time once we get to Wing 3, as you'll see in a moment. But for now, we're just going to continue on our way. Got a couple dregs that spawn here. Be a little careful going down into this area, because you are, on occasion, going to have some dregs that come up behind you from the main room. So just something to be aware of. Luckily, you've got your Phoenix Dive for a burst of healing. You got the healing grenade. You got Devour. So you have a lot of things that are gonna keep you alive. Don't have to worry too much. So similarly, we're gonna get in this room. Before I start scanning, I always like to kill the tanky enemies in here. So I like to stick each of them with a Wither Horde, hit them with a few hand cannon shots. It was usually enough to do the job. Getting a little weak. Luckily, we have a ton of Shanks. We can chuck an Arcane Needle, gives us our Devour. Keep killing them, procs our Devour. Not that big of a concern. Once both of the big guys are dead, I like grabbing Scanner. Remembering the ones that are bad, not the ones that are good. So... or in a situation if we find the 4 good. Okay, so I know 4 is bad, and I know 5 is bad. So I'm just remembering 4, 5, 4, 5. And you can use whatever naming or numbering schemes you like, whatever makes it easiest for you to remember, obviously. So I know 4 and 5 are bad, so I know that one's fine. That one's fine. Good on that one. I'm trying to kill a few Shanks here and there to keep my Devour going as well. But easy as that. We're then going to come over to the nuke station, pick up our nuke, and then once again, going to drop a Wither Horde. I don't mind slinging a few GL shots, especially when those stasis Shanks puddle up like that. In addition to that, you don't really need to be as diligent with holding the core. You can speedrun this section a little bit more, just because it's such a short route to get back to where you have to dunk the core. That plus it's a small Brig, so we don't know. Oh, Remember to bank operator, by the way. Remember to bank operator. Don't forget that, like I almost did. Learn from my mistakes. Don't that way you can avoid making them in your own run. So once again, like I said, using prismatic, using our ability spam, using our wither horde. You can even sneak in a nice little GL shot in there if you like. Really pretty easy. He's dead. On to Wing 3. And Wing 3 is where the Wither Horde really comes in massive, because after Wing 3, you have to kill a significantly tankier and more dangerous Brig, in conjunction with the fact that you just have a lot longer of a distance to cover between where you pick up the core and back to the main area where we have to end up banking it, right? So we're kind of been training ourselves for this section where we need a lot more time, need a lot more mileage out of that 1 minute timer that we have on the bomb. So just gonna keep doing our thing, kill these guys, make sure not to blow ourselves up with GL as he sprints by us. I think 3 GL shots typically puts him to bed, so GL feels really, really solid for this. We'll then go ahead and grab Scanner. I'm going to get an ability kill just to make sure that we get our Devour going again. Smoke the 2 large enemies. Careful about using GL there, though, as the one of them tends to like to sprint up and get in your face. So we're going to figure out the incorrect ones. We had R1 and R3. So I'm just saying in my head, remembering the incorrect ones. R1, R3, R1, R3, R1, R3. I like to say it verbally out loud. Helps me remember. R1, R3. Boom. Then I like to rebank operator immediately. And this is where time is of the essence. So we are going to pick up this nuclear core. And we're going to get out here. I love coming over here and playing this angle. Gonna kill some of the shanks that are behind us as well. And this is where it's super important to just let the Wither Horde do the work. Because time is, you don't get a whole lot of time here. These shanks are really annoying me, though. Thankfully, I have my Hellion, though. My Hellion's kind of taking care of them. I'm gonna take care of some of the shanks behind me. But I'm just I'm hanging out with the core. I'm letting the Wither Horde do the work on these two. Because while I'm holding the core, the timer doesn't go down at all. So there's one of them dead. I'm going to wait until I hear that noise that my Wither Horde is reloaded. That should take care of that guy. So our timer is not going down whatsoever. And then we'll get in position here. Take out the shank, reload the gun, pick the core back up. We're going to take our sweet time here. And we're going to keep on our way. I like dropping it off right here in this box so it doesn't roll off. Kill the shank, pick up the core. And we're going to come over here. Boom, boom, boom. Kill shank, pick up the core. Now we've arrived at the big brig. And so I like to just lob Wither Horde and then run away. And let the Wither Horde do its thing. I try not to stay in this hallway right here because the boss likes to shoot all these missiles, so that's why you kind of see me running back a little bit here. But we are completely taking our time, letting the Wither Horde do the work. This is by far the safest way to do this. Now, while we are going about this strategy, if you do happen to lose the core, you run out of time on the core before you kill the brig, also, keep an eye on your radiation stacks. So right now, since my radiation stacks are getting a little high, I do want a little bit of time without the core. So I'm going to take a little bit of time to pop my Transcendence since I can't really hold the core right now anyway. And I'm just going to let the grenade launcher sing. That actually was enough to kill him. But easy as that, right? Now, if you do end up in a situation where maybe you're just not as efficient on time and you run out of time on the core, it's okay to let it blow up. All that's going to happen is it'll blow up in a small little explosion, so just walk away from it. And then all of the enemies in this wing will respawn, and you'll simply have to do this route again. If you kill the big brig in between that, a new one will respawn when you go to get the new core. However, if you leave the existing brig alive, it'll just stay there, and you'll have a weaker brig that you have to deal with when you go and re-obtain the core. So if you do run out of time, butter up the brig, make him nice and weak. Don't kill him, though, because obviously you don't want to respawn a new one with full HP. Just get him nice and weak. And then when you go and re-obtain the core and do the mechanics again, you'll have a significantly less tanky, significantly weaker brig that you have to come back and deal with. Heading on to the next encounter. Once again, you can pretty much stay with the exact same loadout that you just ran. I like the Wither Horde here a lot again, but you really can run whatever you want. Don't disrespect this encounter. This encounter is a very, very easy place to lose your run. Very, very easy place to wipe your run. So make sure you treat it with respect. I highly recommend watching this entire section just to see the pathing that I take. As far as I can tell, it's the safest pathing option. So don't disrespect this at all. We're going to power that off, but we're actually not going to go out that path. We're going to come over here to this door. And we're going to open it and then close it again, and then we're going to turn this one off. This is the area that we're going to head out of. And so we're just going to hit him with that. We're going to run all the way back here where we have our captain. And these orange bar sword captains are going to be the guys that are going to give us our nuclear cores. So we're going to kill him, grab the core. I really love Helion here as well, because Helion with Devour, while you're holding the nuclear core, the Helion will kill some of the dregs and it'll proc your Devour to give you full HP heals. Keeps things nice and easy. So we're going to open that door, re-close it so we get the power reserves charge back, dunk that core, and that is going to spawn a new captain to give us a new core. We're actually going to leave the opposite door that we entered. So we're going to come over here, open the door, re-close it to get our power reserves back. And then we're going to come straight through here, open this door, close it again, open this door. Make sure you always close the doors behind you to make sure that you get the power reserves charged back. Dunk that right there. We're then going to kill the captain that spawns, give us the new core. But before we grab that, we're going to come over here and turn this off just so we get the power reserves charge from doing so. We're then going to open that door. Make sure you keep an eye on your radiation stacks while you're doing this as well, by the way. We're going to grab the core, hop out on here, and get a dunk off right in there. If the Servitor boss ends up being like right here or right there and they try to do the integration thing on you, remember, all you have to do is break line of sight for a brief moment, nice and easy. So don't panic if the boss does end up being close to you in that area. Just run behind a crate real quick and you'll be good to go. Next nuclear core, I'm going to pop my Phoenix Dive so we get our Helion. Shoot the dregs. We're going to turn this off. And then here's the integration. We're just going to break line of sight briefly. Really is that simple. Sneak on in here, close the door behind us so we get the power reserves charged back. And there's that dunk. That'll then spawn another captain, final captain for us. Kill him to get the nuclear core. Then we're going to open this door. Close it on our way out. Make our way over here. Got a couple dregs in here as well. I like to kill these dregs just for safety. Then we're going to take over here to the right, open this one, slide through, open this one. We can also drop the core right here to let our radiation stacks fall. We're going to close the door behind us to make sure we keep all of our power reserves charges. And here, I kind of, you want to make sure you're full HP, because the boss is right there before you head past this part. You can even, if you want to be super, super safe, you can throw a healing grenade right out there in front. Get your full HP. And you can run through the healing grenade to get restoration as you go. That's probably a little extra. You probably don't need to put that much effort into it. But if you want to be super, super safe, that is an option. You can, without any healing, though, as long as you're full HP, you can just sprint past them right there. And you'll be good to go. And just like that, you're done with that section. Don't get too loose, though, as there are some areas in this jumping section that you can die in. So just follow my exact pathing. And while I'm going, I do want to mention a lot of people, just in case, because anytime I live stream, twitch.tv/Mactics, by the way, we're typically live every single weekday at noon Eastern. Would love to have you stop by. I always get a lot of questions about my hoodie that I'm wearing right now. So if you like the hoodie and you want to get your own, I'll link it in the description for y'all. And you can actually use code Mactics to get 10% off. It supports me a little bit as well. So yeah, just throwing that out there. Last little bit before we get to the next boss, or the next encounter, first boss, where I have been hearing a lot of different recommendations on weapons. The loadout I'm going to be going with, I actually used to 3-phase this boss on Warlock pretty comfortably. So this is the one I recommend. We're going with a pure solar setup. Song of Flame. Again, I know ignitions are currently bugged. We're not really going Song of Flame for the ignition damage. We're going simply so we can pop it and be radiant throughout the entire DPS phase. We got Phoenix Dive, Incinerator Snap, Healing Grenade, Touch of Flame so that our Healing Grenade gives us Restoration X2, and Icarus Dash, for reasons you'll see in a little bit. Then got Torches, Empyrean, Solace, and Singeing. Here, I would say it's really, really important to make sure you have a solar primary ammo weapon, because you'll be able to put down the Healing Grenade to get Restoration X2, and then when you get Solar Weapon Final Blows, Ember of Empyrean will extend the duration of Restoration. So you basically have a permanent restoration throughout this fight, which feels really, really nice. As far as stats go, max resilience, and then as high of recovery and discipline as you can muster. In terms of weapons, I really, really like the Lost Signal Grenade Launcher. It's craftable. It's from last season. It's from Echoes. I really love having it with auto-loading holster and vorpal weapon. If you don't have this, you can go with something like a Blinding Grenade Launcher, or sorry, Disorienting Grenade Launcher. I just like this one a lot. It's not a requirement. You can go with Disorienting Grenade Launcher and stuff if you like. You notice down here we have Wardcliff Coil. This thing does pretty nasty damage for this boss. Really nice cleave, really nice AoE. It just performs pretty spectacularly. You might think Wardcliff is a pretty slow reload, though, and to alleviate that, we're going with Rain of Fire Exotic Boots, where air dodge reloads all of your weapons, which is why we have Icarus Dash. So basically the idea is we're going to go Wardcliff, Icarus Dash, Wardcliff, Icarus Dash, Wardcliff. Then we can mix in a few abilities while the Icarus Dash comes off cooldown. It's like 2 or 3 seconds. Then once it comes off cooldown, we can do another Icarus Dash, another Wardcliff, another Icarus Dash, another Wardcliff. You can get like 5 Wardcliff shots off in one DPS phase, and it completely melts him. In terms of the rest of our mods, similarly, Harmonic Siphons, Harmonic Loader, Reaper, Time Dilation. I like having 1 Arc Weapon. So if you want, you can go 1 Arc Weapon Surge and 1 Arc Scavenger during the regular phase, and then you can swap before you start DPS phase to double Arc Weapon Surge, or you can just stay with 1 Arc Weapon Surge and 1 Arc Scavenger the entire time. That's what I'm going to do. It's only a 7% DPS difference. That one's up to you. Arc Resistance and Harmonic Resistance, Heavy Ammo Finder, Impact Induction, and Focusing Strike. I'm going to show you exactly how you want to play this encounter, exactly what your DPS rotation is going to look like. It's pretty solid. I've been enjoying it a lot. So we're going to get this rally flag down, and then we're going to hop over here, and we're going to start the fight. I like playing way back here, super aggressive, as long as I have healing cooldowns. If I am out of healing cooldowns, then I back it up big time until I get healing cooldowns back. So I actually like to start with a grenade to give myself Restoration X2, and then you'll notice, since I'm getting kills with this solar weapon, since I have Ember of Empyrean, it's going to extend the duration of my restoration every time I get kills. Obviously, we're going to kill that Shank, and then we're going to dunk the Operator. Do not forget to dunk the Operator, otherwise that timer will eventually end up killing you. Just going to continue killing enemies, keeping an eye on that restoration timer, making sure we maintain it. Might end up losing it, which we do, but that's okay. I'm still going to play a little aggressive because I know I have my Phoenix Dive available if things get a little hairy. So I'm just going to keep playing aggressive, keep killing stuff. We can use our grenade launcher as well. There's the Machine Priest. Whenever they summon the Machine Priest, at least in the first phase, I like just popping Song of Flame and using the Song of Flame to melt it. You're easily going to get Song of Flame back before you actually get to the DPS phase, so it's really not a big deal. And if you melt them fast enough, you actually have Song of Flame up for a little bit once you land in here, so you can throw out like the Firehawk grenade, take out a couple of the exploder shanks. The exploder shanks are literally all that matter here. I like a lot too throwing my healing grenade immediately to give myself restoration, so I'm constantly healing back here. Because all of the enemies and shanks that you're going to kill are just going to completely... all the enemies and shanks that you're going to kill are orange bars, so they buff up your restoration timer quite a bit. So as you can see, I still have restoration. I have it for 13 seconds. You're borderline immune back here, as long as you don't let an exploder shank sneak up on you. So to avoid that, I try to be very, very diligent and make sure that I'm never aiming down sights while I'm back here, or at least aiming down sights very little, so that I can make sure I keep eyes on my radar and see if anything's flanking me. We got 5 and 8. It's going to be the glowing servitors. Alternatively, if you have a tough time seeing the glow, just look for the ones with red eyes. As you can see right here, that one has red eyes and these ones don't. So we see we've got 8 and 5. Don't spend too much time up here, though. If you look at the top of my screen, we got viral suppressor going on. If that hits 0, you're dead. You have a lot of time, but, you know, don't play it too safe. Highly recommend coming over here to the left side to exit as opposed to the middle. You're going to be tempted to go into the middle, but I'll just show what happens if you go into the middle. You run through here, then all the servitors teleport, and then you're in a cage full of servitors, and they bully you, and it's kind of a pain. So I recommend just going to the far left, keeping things safe. In terms of remembering the numbers, if you're on PC, you can just type it in your fire team chat. If you're not on PC, I highly recommend either having your phone with you or having like a piece of paper that you can write them down on. Don't try to memorize them. The phases are too far apart from each other that you're bound to forget, especially considering you're probably going to be a little stressed out. Since, you know, it is solo flawless, you got a whole lot of other stuff going on. You got to be concerned about your gameplay, concerned about your ammo, concerned about your cooldowns. Don't have to, you know, don't worry about, you know, make yourself have to worry about remembering callouts as well, mechanical callouts, right? Because you will forget eventually, and that's no fun. So we're gonna hang out back here once again. Healing grenade plus getting solar kills means permanent restoration, which means it's like these guys are not killing me, simply put, which allows me to play all the way back here. That's why I'm allowed to play so aggressive. At this point, you can use another Song of Flame if you want to just absolutely smoke this guy and then just kill enemies until you re-obtain it before the DPS phase. Or you can back up a little bit, play a little safer, and just play from a distance, let your grenade launcher do the work. You might be tempted here to fling off a ward clip coil shot to try and burn this guy down. Generally speaking, I recommend against that because enemies do roam around the entire arena. All it's going to take is one guy that walks in front of you while you're trying to ward clip him to end your run. I recommend just being patient, taking it safe, and taking it slow, and just being smart. So we're just going to take our time here. We're in absolutely no rush. There's no timer on this. We're all good. Good to go. Take it nice and slow. Just like that. And so now we're going to teleport back up top. Like I said, I really love throwing my healing grenade down right away. And I'm just constantly looking at where all of the shanks are. Another thing, too, since you have Rain of Fire on, is you can hit a quick Icarus dash, and that'll reload all of your guns. So if you're running out of ammo, you don't even have to do the reload animation at all. You can just Icarus dash, and boom, your gun's topped off, ready to go. Just don't accidentally Icarus dash off here, please. I recommend always Icarus dashing to the left, because then you'll run into this wall. 0% chance. Don't do one of these, because then you're gonna accidentally fling yourself off the cliff, and that's no good. So we're gonna get this guy now. Grab this here. I like putting it right there. This is a really good spot to put it right here. If you kind of hide right here, you can easily get some cover and put it in a really safe spot where you're in no danger at all. Makes things super simple. And once again, we have got 7 and 4. It's the glowing servitors or the ones with the dots. You can't see that. So 4 and 7. Now I'm going to run through here. Look at how much easier it is if I run through here. Nothing that cages me, right? So typically, I like to come straight back. I like to pick up the operator, and I like to go... Whoa! That's what the healing cooldowns are for, am I right? I like to work my way from... I like to do the front wall first, and then I like to loop around here. And if I can help it, I really like when the last one I hit, if I have one of those options available, is either 7 or 3, because they're right in front of the deposit box for me to put Operator back in. I do, however, want to try and get a stack or 2 of armor charge for my Wardcliff coil if I can. So we've got our Siphon mods, we've got our Reaper. So we're going to make a couple of orbs real quick. This is what where the time dilation comes in really nice, because it gives us 15 seconds. Make sure to keep an eye on your viral operator timer if you're going to do this. Make sure you're keeping an eye on that timer. Last thing you want is for that to hit 0 and that wipes your run. Numbers wise, for 7 was my final one. So we're gonna hit that, dunk this in, then I immediately pop Song of Flame, use the snap to kill this guy, pick up Suppressor, drop this. I wait until he turns blue before I shoot. I don't immediately shoot. And then I'm gonna spew my grenade launcher for the debuff, fire a Wardcliff, Icarus, fire a Wardcliff, Icarus, fire a Wardcliff. Now my Icarus dash is on cooldown. So I'm going to do a melee until Icarus dash comes off cooldown. Fire Wardcliff Icarus, fire Wardcliff Icarus. And as you can see, that damage is pretty solid. You'll notice a few things. I always Icarus dash backwards, never side to side. I don't want to end up in a situation where I'm like over here and I'm in an awkward spot and I accidentally Wardcliff this wall. Obviously never Wardcliff forwards, because then you put yourself in a risky spot where maybe you're too close to the Servitor and the Wardcliff self-damage ends up killing you. But as you can see, that damage is a very, very, very easy 3-phase. Another thing I do want to showcase actually though, before I do one more DPS phase, is what to do in the situation where after you get teleported, you get overran by some of the Exploder Shanks. So let's say I'm chilling here and some of the Exploder Shanks get a little too close for comfort. I'm getting overran. Maybe I didn't do a good job killing all of them. I always really like to just kind of, I always stand way back here. I always just kind of like to go around this side, use my Icarus dash, and I like to kind of sweep over here. And then I kind of bait them out there, and then that lets me come back here and kind of refresh my distance from them. You basically want to treat them like their explosion radius is 2 times bigger than you actually think it is, because one explosion from one that's a little too close will automatically wipe your run. Obviously, running around here, you know, puts you at risk of getting integrated by the boss, but you have this thing right here that you can hide behind the break line of sight. You got this thing right here. And then when you hop back over, you can drop behind here and break line of sight, and you'll be good to go. Now, before I actually do this DPS phase and show off the combo, I want to talk about the combo just so you can kind of listen to what the input order is before you actually watch it. Hopefully make it a little bit easier to digest, right? So we're going to shoot the final keypad and then dunk our operator buff and then immediately pop Song of Flame. Afterwards, we're going to melee the Suppressor Shank, pick up Suppressor, and then immediately get up front to put the clone in front of the Servitor. We're not going to shoot the clone, though, until the Servitor starts glowing blue. If you shoot it immediately right when it spawns, it actually doesn't register that you suppress the Servitor, and it actually won't split apart and put you into DPS phase. Once we see it go blue, we're going to shoot it, then we're going to immediately pull out our grenade launcher and paint the ground so that we get the artifact mod debuff on all of the Servitors. We're then going to pull out our Wardcliff, and we're going to go Wardcliff shot into a backwards Icarus dash, another Wardcliff shot into a backwards Icarus dash, and then it's going to go on cooldown. We get 2 Icarus dashes before it goes on cooldown while we're in Song of Flame. It'll be on cooldown for about 2 or 3 seconds, at which point we'll spam our melee and our grenade in Song of Flame until it is back off cooldown. Once it's back off cooldown, pull the Wardcliff back out, Icarus dash, Wardcliff shot, Icarus dash, Wardcliff shot, and then we're done with the phase. So let's go ahead and show you what that looks like. First things first, like I said, we do want to make sure we get a stack of armor charge if we can. So I'm going to go ahead and hit our Phoenix Dive. Should only need 2 stacks right here, I think. There's 1 from the Reaper, and then we'll get 1 more from our good old Siphon mod. Throw our healing grenade down. Should be more than enough. And I'm going to hit my final, I think it was 5 is what I needed. So boom. We're going to run over here into the terminal, immediately pop our Song of Flame, get that melee going, Suppressor Augment, dunk it. He's glowing blue, so I'm good to go. Paint the ground with our GL. Wardcliff shot, Icarus dash, Wardcliff shot, Icarus dash, Wardcliff shot. Icarus dash is on cooldown now. And it is back off cooldown. Oh, I accidentally used it twice. Small mistake. I accidentally double tapped it, so it did it twice. But even so, even with me messing up a little bit, incredible damage. Super easy 3-phase. Now, another thing I want to note about DPSing this boss is once you get him to the point where he's weak enough that like you can actually visibly see the servitors taking damage, I'm not 100% sure if it's infinite, but it feels like pretty much infinite time. So please don't rush or anything like that. Don't rush yourself once you get to this point. As you can see, it's that amount of HP right there, and you can kind of visually see that they're starting to blow up and whatnot. Take your time here. Don't feel like you have to rush. Don't feel like the DPS phase is going to end anytime soon. Like, you can run around, pick up the bricks of Wardcliff, do your thing. Don't let, like, one of the servitors teleport into you and, and then you blow yourself up with Wardcliff. You're good to go once you get to this point. You can take your sweet time. Let the Wardcliff do the work from a distance, and you're all good, just like that. Now, this upcoming traversal area is no joke, so please do not treat it lightly. You can go ahead and keep on the same loadout if you want in terms of armor and subclass, but I do recommend switching to a sniper rifle and an eager edge sword. I actually kind of like keeping the same loadout on. I like having the Icarus dash for the jump puzzle. If you want to be even extra safe, you can go ahead and throw on heat rises. I'm not going to do that. I don't think it's super necessary, but you do want to be very careful with this jumping puzzle. Take the routes that I take, because there's a safe way to do it and an unsafe way to do it. This is where we have the lightning as well in this jumping puzzle, and this lightning can one-shot you if you're too low to the ground while you're inside the lightning when it does that initial strike. So do treat it with respect. Our sniper right here, we're going to take out these 3 sniper vandals across the way. They can't shoot you, so don't worry. And then we're going to use our sniper to go ahead and kill this brig right here before we start making our way over there, just to make sure that we're not getting pelted as we're mid-jump. Don't need to put ourselves in a dangerous position. Actually, that's the first time. Okay, well, that seems like it's going to do it. I was curious if he was going to actually die or if he was just going to teleport right back up top, but seems like that'll do it. Your base jump should be enough to get you all of these distances, but just in case, you do have your Icarus dash and your Eager Edge sword, just to be a little extra safe. If your hands are getting a little sweaty, wipe them off. If, maybe take your sweatshirt off. Maybe turn the AC on. Make sure you're good to go. This is where you're going to start interacting, seeing the lightning strikes. My general rule of thumb is if I see a lightning strike about to come, I just go straight up into the air. That way I make sure I'm not on the ground when it comes. Ideally, if I see a lightning strike in front of me, like at the next location I'm going to jump at, I stay at my current location. I just wait for it to pass, and I wait for the damage over time field to pass as well, unless a lightning strike starts happening on my current position. So like right there, that's where I want to be. So I'm going to wait until this goes away. Now that it's gone, I'll go ahead and continue. Get high up in the air, make sure I don't get nailed by that. Field's pretty much gone. I'm just gonna let it do its thing. Only reason I'm moving forward is either when it's gone or if there's going to be a new lightning strike coming on my position shortly. So I'm going to wait for that. Okay, so lightning strike coming on my position right there, which means I'm gone. Then we're going to go ahead and make our way through here. I just run past those marauders. You can kill them if you want to. But once we get right here, I like to kill every single one of these enemies. Careful of those snipers up at the top that are being immuned by the Servitor. If the Servitor takes its immunity off of them, you can go ahead and take them out real quick. Or you can just kill the Servitor. Come on. There we go. There's that good aim. And it's at this stage that I like to go ahead and switch to Wither Horde. So we're going to go ahead and slap the Wither Horde on, maybe get some special ammo if there's any around here. Doesn't look like it. And here, I like to kill this one. And then here you can just slide on through and just keep going. You'll be perfectly safe. And then I like to kill pretty much all of these mines that I can see, just to make sure I do my due diligence. Perfect. And then in this room, we'll have the big boss enemy and 2 servitors. I like to just Wither Horde the servitors first. whenever he does his stasis thing, I like to back off. But I like to kill both of these servitors because they do like to immune the boss. Wither Horde's perfect for that. So just stick them once or twice, get a few shots in with the primary ammo. If you throw some stasis crystals, I usually just wait until they despawn. Maybe I'll try and sneak in a Wither Horde shot real quick, but I try to just kind of be patient and wait for them to go away. Kill some enemies right here if I do happen to be able to see them through the window. And I just like to blink away at this guy. Take it nice and slow, let the Wither Horde do the work. Keep it nice and safe. You can also, if you have your super available, you can go ahead and pop it. I know ignitions are bugged, but the initial impact of the Song of Flame abilities still do a pretty decent amount of damage. Enough to kill him. Once he's dead, we'll be on our way. Same principle, I do not jump until I see the damage field gone, unless there is lightning on my current position. If you end up in a situation like that, this is a bad situation right here, where I had lightning where I wanted to go, as well as lightning behind me. That's where the Eager Edge Sword can save you big time. That's where Icarus Dash can save you big time. Alternatively, what I could have done is, what would have probably been safer is, just wait for the lightning to appear. Like, I'm not even going to jump until I see the lightning appear. If you want to be as safe as humanly possible, you can kind of, I'm going to Eager Edge back to my old position. Not messing with that. This is actually the worst lightning RNG I've had ever in this traversal puzzle, so it shouldn't be this bad for you. But so like right here, I'm just going to wait for the lightning to appear there. I'm just going to wait for it to show up. This is probably the best way to do it, unless, of course, lightning does arrive on my position. So perfect. Now I know there's no way that I try to go over there and lightning starts spawning, because it has a little bit of a cooldown at each location. Right here, this jump's a little spooky on Warlock, so make sure you're careful with it, make sure you're particular with it. And with all that done, we are on our way to the final boss, just like that. I have 2 loadouts for the final boss that you're going to set up and swap in between throughout the encounter. This is the easiest strategy I have personally done for the final boss, so I'll show you how it goes. And I got another fun fact. My favorite thing about my strategy for the final boss is you can literally pretend like the lightning doesn't exist. If you follow exactly what I do, it is literally impossible to get killed by the lightning in this arena. You'll see why. Gonna buffer our jump right there just to be safe. I'm gonna wait until this passes before I start talking about the loadout. Wait for this door to open and whatnot. Ta-da, and here we go. So, loadout number 1, which is what you're going to use outside of DPS phase, is going to be a Prismatic loadout, Song of Flame, Phoenix Dive, Arcane Needle, Healing Grenade, Devour, Hellion, and then we've got Purpose, Protection, Hope, Dawn, Courage. Your aspects and fragments will remain identical between these 2 loadouts, the DPS loadout and the regular phase loadout. Healing Grenade is going to go huge here because we are running Speaker's Sight. So anytime we toss out a Healing Grenade, it actually makes a healing turret to give us restoration, keeps us super healthy, which is massive for the red and the blue rooms while we're doing the mechanics in there. Devour is going to be the main thing that's going to keep us alive in this upstairs area while we're doing general ad clear. As far as weaponry, this is going to be the same now and for DPS phase. Again, the Lost Signal, if you don't have it, you can go ahead and go with like a disorienting grenade launcher if you like, but this thing is awesome because it keeps the boss permanently debuffed thanks to concussive reload on the artifact. Perks aren't super important here. As long as you have auto loading, I would say you're good to go. If you can craft it, go auto loading Vorpal. Primary ammo weapon of choice, completely up to you. I like going with the Zali's Bane, same thing I've been running the entire time. For a DPS weapon, we're going Grand Overture, Catalyst not required. This thing absolutely slaps the final boss. You'll be doing a 4 phase here without having to do any nuke dunks, any phase extensions, anything dangerous. Stand in the same spot, easy 4 phase. In terms of mods, double siphon with a heavy ammo finder. I like going with a harmonic loader for our hand cannon, as well as an arc loader for our Grand Overture. Feels really, really nice. We've got a arc resistance, harmonic resistance, and concussive dampener, a solar weapon surge for our Zali's Bane, an arc scavenger for our Grand Overture, and Reaper double bomber. That's what I like going with. I'm going to show you 2 phases of this fight. The first phase is going to be the general gameplay loop that I like to do, kind of how I like to approach everything. And then the second phase, I'm going to show you little bonus tips, bonus tricks, and kind of what to do in the event that you can't do everything perfectly through phase number 1, method number 1. So let's get to it. Step 1 is before you even place the rally banner, we are going to shoot our Grand Overture at this keypad and load up our missiles to X20 so we have a full burst ready to go for the DPS phase. And once we get to the DPS phase, actually no, we're going to talk about loadout number 2 right now. I should talk about loadout number 2 right now. The loadout we're hot swapping to, like I said, guns remain identical. Mods, for the most part, remain identical, aside from, I like the double arc targeting, just because there's nothing else you would really run up there for DPS phase. Pretty much the exact same, as you can see here. Only changes that are occurring is our speaker sight is turning into the Stag helmet, so that our rifts give us significantly increased damage resistance. Makes it super easy to stay alive up there. And you'll notice in our subclass setup, our Phoenix Dive is changing to a healing rift. Those are the only changes that are being made. So once again, if you want to take screenshots here, you can scroll through everything. These are the 2 loadouts you need to have ready to go in here. So, starting out with speaker sight, missiles loaded X20, rally flag, so we're maxed out on ammo, and let's get to it. I like to start behind this pillar. There will be 2 dregs that spawn out of here at the beginning of every phase, and I love just throwing my arcane needle at one of them to give me an initial instance of Devour. So I wait for them to come out. Boom, thanks for Devour. And then I actually like to kill this guy, and I like to throw my healing turret in the middle before I pick up Suppressor. Because when I pick up Suppressor, my grenade turns into the clone, so I don't have access to my healing turret. Then I just spam the clone as much as humanly possible, and I like to paint the ground with my Lost Signal. I like to try and kill as many of the enemies as possible to get instances of Devour refresh. Even if the clones aren't up, I like to spam my clone, because it pulls all of the aggro from all of the enemies. Makes things super easy. If you ever get a little low on HP, things look a little scary, you can go ahead and fire down your Phoenix Dive. And if you don't have Phoenix Dive and things are still looking scary, time to run away, find a drag to kill, keep that Devour going, get that Devour refresh, and you're good to go. Keep an eye on your viral suppressor timer up top as well. Don't want that to hit 0 and to die. We want to intentionally keep the Vandals up if we can, because if we kill them, they drop their buffs. And if they drop their buffs, then eventually they will despawn. If the buff despawns, then the viral carrier will respawn along with 2 additional clones. Then you have to go and get Suppressor again, redo it. It's a pain in the ass. I'll show you what to do if you do accidentally kill one of them in the next phase. But we're going to continue with game plan A. We got Viral Scanner picked up. I see we have 4. So we're going to go ahead and dunk this. Doesn't really matter too much, in my opinion, which stations you dunk them in. Just dunk them in the same stations every time to maintain the flow, maintain, you know, what you're used to, all that good stuff. When you pick up Operator, be very careful about what you shoot. Because if you accidentally try to shoot an enemy and you miss them and your bullet whizzes past and you accidentally hit an incorrect keypad, boom, your run is done. So be very careful. If you do need to kill an enemy, go ahead and barrel stuff them. Make sure there is not a keypad behind them that you can accidentally hit, that you can accidentally get flinched into. Be careful and be smart. Take it slow when you have Operator. Don't go, you know, kill thirsty or anything like that. The second you're done with it, try to get Operator away. If you have your grenade or your dive available, I like throwing it while I dunk a buff, just to make sure that nothing behind me can kill me. Once our Operator is dunked, then we can go ahead and return to killing everything as usual. We're going to go down the elevators of whichever side is blinking red. So that would be this side. That is the first side that the boss is going to be on. So we're going to hop down here, kill a couple enemies, smoke these Marauders. Treat them with respect because they got the fire shotguns. They're very, very scary. First things first, when we get into this room, we always pick up Suppressor, and we try to strip the shield off of whatever clone is in here. Then we can redunk it. And we do not kill the clone because these clones infinitely respawn. and it'll respawn with the radiation aura. We just want the radiation aura gone. They're just melee enemies. They don't provide that much of they're not that much of a threat. So just take their shields off and then you're good to go. Red room is notoriously dangerous. Two things here. This is a safety spot right here for red room indefinitely. If you sit right here and you crouch, these enemies cannot see you. The boss never has an angle on you. You're 100. You can get in the spot and go to the bathroom if you want to. That's how safe this spot is. Obviously, you can't do everything you need to do in red room from this location, but what I recommend is if your healing stuff is off cooldown, if you don't have your healing grenade, if you don't have your Phoenix dive, just hang out in this spot until you have them available before you proceed with doing what you're doing. The only time you're on a time crunch in this room is after you hit all 4 keypads and you start the 40-second countdown timer for the sector purge, and you have to grab scanner and scan all 4 of the clones. So we'll go ahead and grab operator. My rotation for red room, I always like to go this keypad, then this keypad. Then I like to hop up here, get all of my HP back, make sure I have my healing cooldowns. Then I go that keypad. What's cool about this little tip for you is when you hit the 4th keypad, the boss actually has like a 3 or 4 second window where he can't shoot at you because he's animation locked into spawning the 4 clones. So what I like to do is before I shoot number 4, I like to kind of coast into it. That way, as I shoot it, the boss is stun locked in an animation and he can't shoot me while I'm dunking operator. I then like to go ahead and throw down my healing turret, dead center right there, so it's healing me as I go and pick up scanner, and as I go and get as I go ahead and scan all of the enemies. Once I find the correct one, I like to stand up here because the radiation enemies can't get to me. If time permits, I love redunking scanner. Emphasis on if time permits. If time does not permit, run through here and just sacrifice scanner. It's okay. I'll show you how to reobtain it in the next phase if you do have to end up doing that. Do not risk your life to try and redunk scanner in room 1. That's not worth letting your entire run be ruined. Another thing I want to note is if you're ever in a dangerous position and you're seconds from dying, you're having a tough time killing the clone, you need to kill the clone ASAP, or you're super weak, something like that, just go ahead and pop your super. Pop Song of Flame. Pop your Transcendence. You have infinite time before the DPS phase to get them back if you need to. I'll show you ways in which you can infinitely restore super energy and heavy ammunition before a DPS phase as well. Don't hold a 5-minute super cooldown that you can easily get back at any point in time to put yourself at risk of having to redo the entire run and get back to this point. Grabbing Suppressor, taking that guy's shield off, then we'll redunk Suppressor. And then we're going to go ahead. Blue room significantly safer. The blue room rotation that I always love to do is I love to go bang. I missed that one, but I try to hit that right there. Come around to this pillar. Hit the pillar. Since I missed that one, I'll come back. And then I go around here. And then same principle. As I'm going up to this one and I hit it, the boss will be stun locked. He can't shoot me. So as I'm coming over here, I hit that so he doesn't have an angle on me. Healing turret right there. On my way to get scanner, so it's healing me as I go ahead and check out all these clones, giving me restoration buffs. Since this is the second room, there is 0 reason whatsoever for me to redunk scanner. So I don't care if I have all the time in the world, I'm running through with it. Because there's no reason to redunk it. 0. You get no benefit in any capacity. So just run through if it's room number 2. Now for DPS. We're going to go ahead right now and switch to our stag loadout so that our healing rift can begin charging in preparation for our DPS phase. We do not want to start DPS phase until we have our healing rift. So I'm gonna treat these marauders here with respect. I'm not going to sprint by them because they'll blast me. I'm going to kill all 3 of them. And we're going to move our way up. And we're going to get ready for DPS phase. While we wait for the rift cooldown to happen, I'm going to tell you what our rotation, what our combo is going to be before I actually do it in DPS phase, so you can hear it before you see it, easier to register in your mind. We're going to hold our alternate reload to get our volley ready on our missiles. We're then going to go in the elevator, and we're going to pop Transcendence right before we head up. We're then going to spew our grenade launcher on the boss to debuff him. We're then going to throw an Arcane Needle at the boss to give ourselves Radiant through the Facet of Dawn. And then we're going to pull out our Grand Overture and spew every single one of those 20 rockets right at the boss's face. Then we're going to jump up onto the front left side where the antenna is and immediately throw down our Healing Rift to give ourselves a healing and a massive amount of damage resistance. It lets us soak up absolutely everything. We're then going to weave arcane needles in between our, throughout the DPS phase to refresh our radiant buff if time permits. We also have our prismatic grenade, which we can throw on one of the alternate platforms to kill the clone so that we're receiving a little less damage. As our Healing Rift cooldown, or as our Healing Rift gets close to disappearing, we're then going to pop Song of Flame for the massive damage resistance and for the massive ability regeneration so that we can refund our Healing Rift and be able to use it by the time we get out of Song of Flame. When we exit Song of Flame, we're then going to put down not when we exit Song of Flame. When our Song of Flame is at about a quarter left, we're going to put down another Healing Rift that will be available and that will keep us healthy as we exit our Song of Flame. And it'll recharge by the time Song of Flame ends, since it gives us significantly increased class ability, all ability regeneration, right? Also, as Song of Flame ends, we'll have our Healing Grenade back. If we are in a precarious position when it comes to our HP, we can chuck our Healing Grenade or keep it on deck in case we get into a tough position with our health. Or we can go ahead and repop Prismatic, which we will have available again to continue throwing Prismatic abilities and to give ourselves the weapon damage buff. Once the boss goes immune, we are getting out of there. We are not killing the glowing clone. We are not picking up the nuke. We are not trying to extend DPS phase. I know that sounds crazy, but it is the single riskiest thing that you can do in the Solo Flawless Dungeon, because if there so happens to be a lightning spot right in front of the bunker, you're just done. It's over. Because while you're holding the core, you can't boost jump, so you can't get high enough to avoid the one shot of the lightning, and you don't want to just sit there and wait for the lightning to strike and disappear, because then the white move comes and eats you. Just trust me when I say, just do the first half of the DPS phase. It'll be an easy 4 phase, maybe a 5 phase. One try at a 45-minute run is better than 10 tries at a 30-minute run. So just trust me here. So, I'm going to show you exactly what we're going to do. We're going to hop in here. Like I said, we're going to pop our Prismatic once we get in. And then we're going to get flung up. We're going to shoot our grenade launcher at him, throw the Arcane Needle for Radiant, do all of our missiles, and then we're going to get on top of this pillar right here and get our Healing Rift down. We're then going to weave in another missile, so we get our Arcane Needle, so that we get our Radiant refresh. We're keeping an eye on our Healing Rift timer on the left side of our screen. Once I see it get low, I'm going to pop Song of Flame. Boom, 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 boom. Mixing in some of the grenade launcher shots. Gonna do the rockets. Reload. Mixing in this. And once I see my Song of Flame is at a quarter, I'm gonna put down a new Healing Rift, because that Healing Rift is gonna regenerate by the time Song of Flame is done. We've got our Healing Grenade as well, just in case things get a little spicy. If you're not really concerned about that, you can go ahead and pop your Prismatic again. Get that grenade out. And boom, boss is going immune, which means I am jumping sky high so I don't accidentally run across a piece of lightning. Bolstering myself before I land so I don't take a ton of fall damage. Sometimes the clones like to follow you down here. Sometimes a stray bullet likes to follow you down there. Last thing you want to happen is you take a ton of fall damage, go 1 HP, and then you get tagged by one bullet or a clone that follows you down there. Then we're switching back to our other loadout. We're hitting this keypad as many times as we can to get up to 20 stacks. And then it's rinse and repeat. That's maybe a 5. I mean, honestly, it's a 4 phase, maybe a 5 phase. Just trust me. Please trust me on this one. I know you're going to want to go for the core. I know you're going to want to extend the DPS phase. I know. Believe me, I get it. I totally understand. Trust me when I say, I tried to do about 10 solo flawless attempts where I insisted on always getting the core. I insisted on always going for the DPS phase extension, and I cleared absolutely none of them. Because every single time, without fail, during at least one of the DPS phases, there was a lightning strike indicator right in front of the bunker door, and it absolutely fried me. It's simply not worth it. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Please just be patient. I guarantee It will result in your solo flawless clear in less overall time compared to if you try to dunk the core and try to get the extension on every single DPS phase. In terms of general tips here, if you're ever in a situation where you scan, first things first, if you're ever in a situation where you accidentally kill one of the buff holders and you're not ready to use that buff yet, simply grab the buff and bank it, and then come back and use it later when you're ready to do it. That way you guarantee that it's not going to despawn and the viral carrier is going to respawn and bring 2 clones along with it. If you ever use scanner and you run along and you figure out what your number is and you forget what your number is, don't go, oh, I think it was 4. Oh, I think it was 2. Play it safe. Just go ahead and re-obtain scanner. Double check. Okay, it was indeed 4. Don't lose your run to that. Don't lose your run to that. So now we have 4. Once again, we're being very, very, very careful, making sure we're not... I'm going to put down my healing turret so I don't need to rely on Devour healing to keep me safe. We do not want to kill any enemies if we don't have to. We don't want to fire any unnecessary bullets. We don't want to accidentally hit an incorrect keypad. Now, we can go ahead and kill enemies. First side's over here. I'm going to show you what happens now in the event that you do not have enough time to redeposit scanner and you need to re-obtain it between the rooms. It's super simple, super easy. For the sake of time, I'm going to skip the part where I stripped the enemy shields with suppressor. I recommend against that. Please make sure you do your due diligence and actually strip their shields with suppressor. I'm just trying to rush a little bit for the sake of time for the video, so I'm not wasting your guys' time. So we're going to hop up here. Also, you should let your healing cooldowns come back. Do as I say, not as I do. Get our healing turret down. Come over here and get scanner. We're going to scan all these clones. Okay, so this is actually a realistic situation in which you might genuinely not have time to redeposit scanner, because you had to come all the way over to clone number 4. We're killing him, picking up the core. I just run through with it. It'll go away. It's not a problem. Dunk the core. You can also, if you need to load some more missiles, as you can see, I only have 15 missiles loaded. The keypads in here work for loading the missiles as well. So you'll see once this door opens. Now I'm at 20. You'll also notice, to go to the next room, I always recommend... I honestly just recommend running through the trip mines. You can kill this little mine if you want to, but they're really not that rough to run through. You'll get a groove for it as you get going. If you lose scanner when you get to the next room, instead of going to the right side like you normally would, you'll instead go to the left, which will take you to the upper floor, and he will be respawned with your buff right in here. Try to kill him before the Servitor makes him immune, otherwise you'll have to kill the Servitor as well. So you'll simply grab the scanner, and you'll run it over into this room, and you'll plop it inside the terminal. Another thing I want to show off is that sometimes I've noticed when I'm holding a buff, even if the doors are closed, if I make contact with the door while I'm holding a buff, even if it's closed, it'll take away my buff. Not the biggest deal in the world if you lose suppressor or operator, but it is a big deal if you lose scanner. Because if you're wielding scanner, you're probably in the phase where all these doors are closed, and you only have 40 seconds to find the correct clone, and if you shoot the incorrect clone, your run is basically wiped. So when you're running around to find the correct clone with scanner, be very, 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 very careful that you don't accidentally hit your pinky toe on one of those doors. Very, very, very diligent about that. So, we're going to go ahead and grab operator, and we're going to go ahead and continue on. Again, this is the route I like to take. If you get in a sticky spot, if you get in a sticky position, please pop one of your healing cooldowns, pop your super, pop your transcendence if you need to. Once again, I cannot stress that enough. I can't tell you how many runs I've lost because I got greedy and I was like, nah, it's fine. I can get this healing off. It'll be okay. Don't do it. Just pop the super. You'll get it back. It's all good. In fact, to demonstrate, let's just do this. Should be you. Let's say I'm in a rough spot and I'm like, oh, I had to pop my super to either one-shot the clone because I was running low on time, or I was weak on HP, I was feeling a little spooky, I had to pop it. I'm going to show you how you get it back, and if you're low on ammo, I'm going to show you how to get infinite ammo. So, once again, we're going to make our swap to the stag so that our healing rift starts to come off cooldown. Immediately, you'll notice that all of the enemies that you can kill on your way back up, it's going to give you about 50% of your super. You can also, same method if you pop your Transcendence instead, use these guys as Transcendence fuel. So we're going to run over here. Kill all of these enemies. Boom, boom, boom. Perfect. Once you take the teleporter back up, you can run across and you can kill all of the enemies over here, which will include the Scanner Vandal. Because remember, we're always going to lose Scanner in room number 2 because we're never going to redunk it because there's no reason to ever redunk it in room 2. And what's really neat about this, once we kill Scanner, we're going to take a look to our right because we're going to have some Marauders. We want to kill all 3 of them because they're very dangerous. Once we kill Scanner, what we can do is we can pick up Scanner, take the elevator back up, turn around, and just drop right through the elevator. That will take away our Scanner, which will make the Scanner Vandal continuously respawn. So if you need ammo, you can just do this continuously until he eventually drops a brick of heavy. If you need super energy like I do, you can do this continuously to farm a little bit of super energy with each kill. And then once you're pretty much good on super energy, just for good measure, I like to kill him one more time, pick it up, and I like to just tap my toes to that so I lose the buff and wait for him to respawn before I start the DPS phase, just for good measure. Just make sure he's still around in the arena, right? So, DPS phase once again. I'm going to show it to you one more time just to really lock it in here. Simple rotation, impossible to die. Alternate reload to get that volley ready. We're going to hop in here, let the doors close. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Pop our Transcendence. There goes the grenade launcher shot. There goes our needle to give us radiant. There goes the burst. We're going to carefully get right up here. Oh. If you mess up like I did right there, we got our Song of Flame that we can pop. I am completely butchering this. I've never been in this position, so I don't really know how this is going to end up. But this DPS is going to be really, really bad. I'm going to get another Rift down. And I'm definitely not going to pop Transcendence, because if I pop Transcendence, then I don't have access to my Healing Grenade anymore. So my Healing Grenade is going to kind of be my last resort, if that makes sense. So we're going to throw another one of those. He's back right here. I'm keeping an eye. We're going to get our Rift down. That's going to be massive damage resistance thanks to the Stag. I'll pop my Transcendence as a last resort. I'm taking a look at my Healing Rift timer. 4, 3, 2, 1. I have my Healing Rift back. I still have my Healing Grenade. I was fine, even if you completely butcher that and completely mess it up and have to panic pop Song of Flame, you're good to go. And despite me messing it up that badly, check that out. Look at his health bar. Like, that's a very, very easy 4-phase if I don't completely screw that up. And even with screwing that up, it's a very easy 5-phase. So, pretty simple strategy. Like I said, you know, in terms of like rotations of ability usage, there is a little bit going on, some stuff you have to get really used to and comfortable with, but it doesn't require any high mechanical skill. It doesn't require a ton of movement, doesn't require any crazy DPS rotations. And even if it does take you more than 4 phases, 5 phases, 6 phases, whatever, what have you, it's still, I mean, these phases are very, very safe. You've got Transcendence that you can panic pop. You've got Song of Flame that you can panic pop. You've always got the Healing Turret. You've always got the Phoenix Dive. There's so much stuff that you have where you're pretty much good to go. Oh, make sure you do not forget to swap to your speaker sight loadout when you fly back down. Something I honestly forget to do a lot. I'm just being completely honest, so yeah. That's pretty much all the tips and tricks I have for you. That's all the things to watch out for. That's all the things that you should do. That's literally everything I can think of when it comes to trying to solo flawless this dungeon. So hopefully it helped. Please consider liking and subscribing if it did. I'm going to work on a Hunter guide as well for those of you who do not want to do it on Titan and Warlock and are absolutely have your heart set on doing it on Hunter. I think it's going to be pretty hard on Hunter. I've been trying to brainstorm a loadout that I can think of that makes this safe to do on Hunter. Ultimately, it just really comes down to the fact that the DPS phase is brutal and you need some form of healing or damage resistance or survivability, and I've been trying to come up with an idea for Hunter. So hopefully you found this guide helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.